Coming up, the story of a song that epitomized the struggles, the triumphs, and the tragedy surrounding the artist that performed its signature interpretation. In an instant, she became the queen of rock. Nobody had ever really heard anything like it. This show-stopping female rocker put everyone on notice with this song. And although her aborted career was fast and furious, this artist is regarded as one of the all-time greatest vocalists. And this explosive performance, it came after being bullied in school for her acne and told by some adults she would end up in jail or in an institution. Instead, she set the bar for every rock singer who came after. Story is dynamite. Is coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If you remember trading, your tapes or CDs or records with your friends so you could listen to different things growing up, you're going to enjoy this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the big red button, click the bell so you always know when our stuff's coming out. Check us out on Patreon for even more content. So Reba McEntire is held as the Queen of Country. Aretha Franklin has earned the title Queen of Soul, and Janis Joplin is renowned as the Queen of Rock. Of course, some have argued for Ann Wilson of Heart. I get that. And of course, Tina Turner. But today, we're going to bestow that honor upon Janis. Janis Joplin's scorching interpretation of Piece of My Heart with Big Brother and the Holding Company it stands as one of the most profoundly passionate performances of the entire rock era, and that is the subject of today's episode as we induct this song into our show number one in our hearts. Of course, where we celebrate a song that should have been number one. It was so great, it should have been number one on the Billboard Hot 100. So Piece of My Heart, it catapulted Janis into iconic status within the counterculture movement of the late 60s. Nobody had ever heard anything like it. Her performance at Woodstock marked a pivotal moment in her brief yet impactful career. The electrifying energy she infused into her stage presence and the fervor for which she sang solidified her as one of the most cherished performers of her generation. The Joplin family embodied a peculiar blend of ultra-conformity and eccentricity, shaping the personality of their eldest daughter, Janis, throughout her life. Seth Joplin, a respected engineer at Texaco for 4 decades, had an unconventional academic path, having dropped out of engineering school before completion. Despite his formal career, Seth was a voracious reader and a dedicated listener of classical music, actually, often moved to tears by its deep melancholy beauty. However, he also possessed skills like making bathtub gin during Prohibition and indulging in cannabis. Now, Dorothy Joplin, for her part, had the potential for a great singing career, but she chose to embrace the domestic life and become a housewife. She had an exquisite soprano voice, though. Both parents were fiercely intelligent individuals, yet they navigated a delicate balance between their commitment to middle-class ideals and their resistance against its constraints. Much like her mother, young Janis possessed a beautiful soprano voice, earning her a soloist role in the church choir. However, after the age of 6, she wasn't actively encouraged to pursue singing. Following a thyroid operation that deprived her of her singing voice, Dorothy spearheaded the family's decision to part with their piano shortly afterward. Various sources propose that this choice may have been prompted by Dorothy finding her eldest daughter, Janis's singing to be painful in her voiceless condition, or by her husband's anguish over his wife's diminished ability to sing. Both are plausible scenarios. Despite the setback in her singing aspirations, though, Janis was steered toward academic excellence. She received a library card as soon as she could scribble her name and was urged to explore it fully. With an early advancement in school, she actually skipped a couple of grades, Janis exhibited exceptional talent in painting. Her parents, recognizing her artistic gifts, invested in art lessons. Accounts of her preteen years portray Janis as a child prodigy, cherished by everyone, and it was evident she was destined for success in some form, especially creatively. When Janis reached those awkward years of adolescence, so she struggled to fit in with the conventional teen circles, and she befriended a group of outcasts that listened to blues records. That's when she decided to become a singer. and she started singing blues and folk music with friends at Thomas Jefferson High School in her hometown of Port Arthur, Texas. In many probing interviews, Janis stated that she was ostracized and bullied in high school, mostly because of her increasing weight and from a bad case of teen acne. She was definitely a misfit that was the brunt of frequent taunting and name-calling. A heavy feeling of isolation would haunt Janis throughout her short life. Now, Janis was pretty close with her dad, but conflict arose between Janis and her mother. Her mother struggled to comprehend the changes in her daughter. Now, in an attempt to understand the situation, her mother sought family counseling. Throughout her life, Janis recounted how her mother repeatedly took her to doctors who predicted that she would either end up in jail or in an insane asylum, using Janis's exact words there. After high school, Janis attended Lamar State College before transferring to University of Texas in Austin. While at UT, she made her first tape recording of a song called What Good Can Drinkin' Do? This was in December of 1962 at the home of a fellow student. What good can drinkin' do? After she made her first recording, Janis Joplin got restless. As she put it, her head was in a different place. She wanted to leave Texas. Then an old friend came to visit her with an invitation from Bay Area promoter Chet Helms to join a blues band that he was managing in the Bay Area. Apparently, Chet and some of the band members remembered being intrigued by her captivating vocal style. They actually saw her perform in coffee houses. So Janis and her friend hitchhiked to San Francisco to embark on her next adventure. Janis officially became the lead singer for Big Brother and the Holding Company in June of 1966. Her first onstage appearance of the band was at the Avalon Ballroom in San Francisco. At that milestone, Big Brother and the Holding Company consisted of Sam Andrew on guitars and vocals, Peter Albin on bass, Dave Gertz on drums, there was James Gurley on lead guitar. And actually, Janis went from background singer to being front and center as the lead vocalist after she stole the show with her live performance at Down on Me. So the Monterey International Pop Festival in Monterey, California was the breakthrough appearance for Big Brother and the Holding Company, and Janis's performance was incendiary. Fans left the three-day festival that marked the beginning of the Summer of Love literally buzzing about Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and Jefferson Airplane and this wild child from Texas, Janis Joplin. The self-titled debut LP by Big Brother and the Holding Company was released shortly after the group's memorable appearance at the Monterey Pop Festival, fueled by the intrigue surrounding Janis. The band's debut, it was extremely promising. The album went all the way to number 60 on the Billboard album chart without much ado. Nobody really heard of him before that. No longer confined to the label of that acid rock band from Haight-Ashbury, Big Brother and the Holding Company had transformed into one of the most captivating national acts with a compelling new personality on the scene. Capitalizing on this momentum, their second release, Cheap Thrills, unleashed in 1968, and it became a blockbuster record, reigning atop the Billboard album chart for an impressive 8 weeks. The band wanted the title of the album to be Sex, Dope, and Cheap Thrills, but of course Columbia, the executives there shot that idea down as fast as they heard it. The lead single from Cheap Thrills was a remake, A Piece of My Heart, and what a remake it was. So as we get into this show-stopping song, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the glasses I always wear. Right now, you can choose from a variety of styles and featured glasses, from progressives to readers to bifocals to Zenni's new transition Drivewear, which are polarized sunglasses that reduce glare in various daytime weather conditions, and they adapt to changing daylight. Really cool. You're going to love them, and remember, Zenni has some of the lowest prices out there. You can get a complete set of prescription eyewear starting at just $6.95. Click on our info button to get the best price and then make your choice. So Piece of My Heart was co-written by Jerry Ragavoy and Burt Burns. Jerry Ragavoy, renowned as the founder of the iconic recording studio The Hit Factory, achieved fame primarily for his composition of Time Is On My Side. This song, written under the pseudonym Norman Mead, became widely recognized after being popularized by the Rolling Stones. Entering the music industry at the age of 31, Burt Burns was a latecomer, having experimented with various other occupations on his way up. Despite his delayed start, though, he quickly established himself, recognizing the urgency to make an impact given that he was working on limited time. He had a history of coronary issues because his heart was damaged from rheumatic fever when he was just a child. Burt knew that he wasn't going to live very much longer, so he actually approached his career with an extra sense of purpose and determination. As it turned out, Burt's fears did come true. He was only 38 when he died in 1967. Even before the Beatles achieved widespread success in the USA, Burt Burns had been one of the few American music industry professionals to collaborate with British bands. His awareness of the Beatles' triumph with the song Twist and Shout, co-written with Phil Medley, sparked his involvement. Burns had produced a version of the song for the Isley Brothers, you remember, showcasing his early connection with British musical influence. You might recall from an episode on Professor of Rock a few months back, Burt Burns also did Brown Eyed Girl, collaborating with the song's author and singer Van Morrison. And actually, Piece of My Heart was originally intended to be recorded by Van Morrison, but he passed on the opportunity. You remember, he preferred to focus on his own material, so that didn't work out. Burns and Ragavoy then gave the song to Aretha Franklin's younger sister, Irma Franklin. Irma's original recording rose to number 10 on the Billboard R&B chart in December of '67, and she was actually nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance in 1969. Interestingly enough, her sister Aretha was nominated in the same category and ended up taking home the Grammy for one of her signature songs, Chain of Fools. 25 years after its initial release, Irma's version of Piece of My Heart had a pop culture renaissance when it was used in a heavily advertised media campaign for Levi's jeans. The single was re-released and it shot up to number 9 on the British singles chart from there. Take another little piece of my heart now, baby. Now, Irma Franklin, she had a modest career as a solo artist, eventually singing backup on many of her sister's records, Aretha. When Irma quit the music business, she operated a childcare agency called Boysville. Sadly, Irma lost a battle with cancer and died at a relatively young 63 years of age in 2002. So Dave Getz, the drummer and pianist for Big Brother, recalled that Jack Cassidy of Jefferson Airplane introduced the song to them during their initial East Coast tour that happened in March of 1968. Getz reminisced about the moment that Jack presented the song, and he said, and I quote, "Jack came to rehearsal and said, 'I want to play this song for you. I think you guys could do it.' We loved it. Janis loved it." Well, you know you got it. Janis felt apprehensive about signing with Columbia Records, though. It had been Aretha Franklin's label before she joined Atlantic, and actually, Janis Joplin held Aretha Franklin in the highest regard, considering her the preeminent performer in the music industry at that time. But she relished the opportunity to inject her style into Piece of My Heart. She didn't want to copy Irma or emulate even Aretha, her hero. She wanted to give the song a different sound that was uniquely all her own. Sam Andrew, the leader of Big Brother and the holding company, arranged the song's instrumentation, and he gave it a real psychedelic makeover. It included 3 distorted guitar solos, incredible. Unfortunately, the solos were severely cut for the radio edit, shaved over a minute off the full version found on Cheap Thrills, actually almost 2 minutes. When Irma Franklin first heard the Big Brother version on the radio with Janis's vocals, she actually didn't recognize the song because it was so different from her version. Nobody had really heard a female rock out like that. I mean, she was explosive, expressive, and packed a knockout punch with her unique voice. The reworking of Piece of My Heart by Big Brother and the Holding Company sounded so personal for Janis because of how vigorously she performed the song. Somehow that song brought out all of the frustration and the hurt and the emptiness that was inside Janis from all those years ago. She gave gravity to every single note and enforced meaning to every syllable that she sang. It was as if her soul was possessed. Janis wasn't singing the song seemed to be singing Janis. The pre-chorus might as well have been written by Janis because the lyrics personified her volcanic inhibitions. I mean, she just exploded. It's just an incredible song. I mean, the lyrics, and each time I tell myself that I think I've had enough, but I'm going to show you, baby, that a woman can be tough. I want you to come on, and take it. Man. Big Brother and the Holding Company's Piece of My Heart with Janis Joplin's expressive vocals, it went to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. But just like the album, the song should have been a surefire number 1 hit. It was quite a moment with the song just outside of the top 10 and the album at number 1 in the nation, and the band was booked for the infamous Woodstock Music and Art Fair in 1969. Perfect timing. Once again, Joplin, she crushed it on stage, in spite of the challenging conditions at the festival. Her performance of Piece of My Heart was a defining moment of her short yet impactful career. With Janis' star on the rise, her departure from Big Brother and the Holding Company to go solo, it was inevitable. The band's billing underwent a shift to Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company. It was a change that stirred resentment within the band due to the increased media focus on Joplin. Some members of Big Brother perceived Joplin as being on a star trip, while external opinions suggested that Big Brother was a subpar band and advised Joplin just to ditch him. She delivered her final rendition of Piece of My Heart at her last concert with the Full Tilt Boogie Band, happened in August of 1970. Her performance resonated with power and emotion, underscoring her profound influence on the music industry and solidifying her legacy as one of the greatest rock vocalists of all time, even though she'd only been there a short time. Janis Joplin's unique and pioneering musical career was tragically cut short by an accidental heroin overdose in 1970. She wouldn't have wanted to be a member, but her death at 27 years of age, that put her in the 27 Club, along with other music icons that died at that young age: Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Brian Jones, Amy Winehouse, among several others. Each of these artists struggle with their own personal demons and often turn to drugs to escape that pain. Whether they intended to take their own life or not, the members of the 27 Club consistently danced with danger. And it was the perilous aura that enveloped their existence that added to their bewitching allure. Following her untimely passing, a collection of rare recordings by Janis Joplin was released posthumously, expanding on her body of work and solidifying her legacy as an unparalleled talent. We'll certainly explore her amazing work as a solo artist in a future episode of Professor of Rock. Let me know if you'd like to see that below. Good enough for me and my Bobby, yeah. Time magazine dubbed Joplin as likely the most potent vocalist to arise from the white rock movement. And then in the May 1968 issue of Vogue magazine, Richard Goldstein declared her as the most astonishing leading woman in rock. Describing her with vivid imagery, he noted that she slinks like tar, scowls like war, and in the grip of a final stanza, she pleads for it not to depart. Goldstein concluded that Janis Joplin can sing the chic off any listener. Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? Pearl was the title of Janis's final solo record. The name, of course, also served as the enduring nickname bestowed upon Janis by her closest friends. Actually, in her last will and testament, Janis left a generous sum of over $1,500 to her friends, urging them to host a grand celebration in her honor. She stipulated, though, in classic Janis Joplin fashion, the drinks are on Pearl. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment about the pearl of rock and roll, Miss Janis Joplin. What are your memories of this song? Do you think Janis Joplin is the queen of rock and roll? Is she the most amazing female rock singer ever? Let us know in the comments below. Let's celebrate her legacy, her music, her everything. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below. We would love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.